All right, so I'm Pat.
I'm Jeffrey.
We're talking about eyeglasses,
Eyeglasses, yeah.
eyeglasses, and getting old.
Well, you do have a nice new pair.
I do have nice.
It's a good look on you.
Thanks,
It's
man.
yeah.
I don't like. I got rid of those. I hated my last ones because they were bigger lenses, and like they would get dirty so quickly. So I don't know why. So I didn't realize that my eyes exuded some kind of gas.
Okay, so I get what you're saying. All right, so I know that my problem is like I would avoid 90% of all smudging to my glasses if like if I have something itching near my eye or something like that, right? I don't take the glasses off. Right?
Oh,
I just get after it, and that's
okay.
how they get smudges on them. So, sometimes being aware of the problem doesn't mean you do anything about it. But then again, if you look at it and say like, well, in the grand scheme of things, you smudged your glasses. Can you
Right.
fix that? Is it something that you know? These are ethical questions that every person has to go through for themselves. So, it's the minutia of life. If you're
Yeah, it is, man. I'm totally a glasses come off and then you
so
rub the eyes kind of guy. So
like
yeah,
I get it, but I mean that is the ticky tackiest of life's contrivances that there can be. Is like I made my glasses dirty by not taking them off before rubbing my eyes.
yes.
Oh my God, is this my life? Yeah,
I don't know, man. I look at my daughter who never cleans her glasses. I mean, they're so dirty that you can see it.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So she's at that kid age where it's like, well, I can just see through it. It's fine. That's normal. So, but it drives me nuts. So
No, that's the kind of shit that pisses me off. Though is not about her. It's about me. That's the kind
oh
of thing where uh, it's sort of like it's like when somebody leaves that stupid motion blurring setting or that motion setting on their TV.
mm-hmm.
Like if it's not my house, I still turn it off.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it's awful. It's that thing that software that interpolates things and basically adds extra frames of data to the screen. And
is that the one that makes it extra really feel?
that's what they say. It's
I don't like that TV, man.
no, I hate it. And it's something that my brother says, "Oh, I can't even notice."
I totally noticed that.
Yeah,
It must be off on my TVs. Yeah, one of my TVs is old enough; it probably doesn't have that. So,
yeah, they all have it's some everybody has some kind of dumbass proprietary name for it where it's
oh,
like
okay.
motion smoothing plus or something like that. You just
I
go in
have
the menu
seen
and turn
that.
it off. Again, like that's like the same thing with my eyeglasses. If I notice that if there's some kind of like crap on it, like I'm not going to be comfortable looking through it until I fix it.
Right?
I
Yes.
can't just be
Like
like
motion smoothing.
I can't just be like, well, I know it's there, but I'm just gonna get past it. No,
No, I can't do that
I
either.
can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, yours. This is the first time I got these polished edges on this. So yours are.
What were yours
So
before?
I guess they were white. So
Oh.
yeah.
Well, this is okay. So, I mean, I guess when I got mine, and you can tell there's barely a frame here, I asked them for essentially the lightest pair of
Oh, glasses.
eyeglasses,
Yeah.
possible, and that's what they gave me.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what they sold me. So, hopefully, yours are that same way. I never. I don't know, because they take you through the shop and they walk you through and they're like, try how about these? How about these? How about these? I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't have a good sense of aesthetics for that kind of thing.
Um. I yeah.
Not on my own head
No,
anyway.
mine's gotten better. Mine's gotten a little bit better over the years, I guess. So, see, the last pair that I have, that was one that another guy, kind of talked me into because he thought it was a good look. I
Yeah.
was like, okay, but then after a little while, I was like, actually, I don't like these. They're too big. So, and they're too round. And they're not perfectly round like my last ones were, which were kind of cool, but they had the same fucking problem. They get dirty all the time too. So there's just more like lens area. So
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, and it's I haven't hated wearing glasses since COVID. And then I got over it. And it was because COVID, when you'd put the stupid masks on,
oh
yeah, you were basically fogging them up the whole time.
yeah.
Yeah. Aside
Yeah.
from that, it's never really been a problem.
No. I think I got over that by putting my glasses down further on my face.
It didn't work.
It didn't work for you?
You have
Yeah.
way more nose than I do. It's
maybe that was
biology.
I didn't think like architecture had something to do with it. That makes sense now that you
Yeah,
say
I mean,
it.
it's same thing like with my brother. If he were to do that, yeah, he has like 4 ratcheting spots on his nose with how far it goes out. I got the one,
Yeah,
where
that's
it's
true.
where it plugs in right up here, and then like I can push it down, but it's not down. But yeah, he's got like the bridge plus like 3 additional like hook points.
Yeah. Man, yeah, so airports.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Right.
now that you mentioned COVID, there are still some people who are freaked out by that shit.
I guess.
They come from Europe.
Oh, really? Is that
Yeah, they do.
is that their damage?
I think that is their damage.
That's the
man.
defect?
Yeah, like you always expect. So Boston and Dallas Fort Worth are both international airports.
Right.
Okay, so I didn't have much time to fuck around in Dallas, except for yesterday. And so yesterday I was there for a couple hours. All right. So just noticing, like flying on American, everybody mixes on the same concourse there. So
All right.
it's been a while since I've been to DFW. So
Yeah, no doubt.
it had been a
Me
while.
too.
Yeah. So that's where I did my ticket agent training. So I was kind of like, wow, you guys didn't change anything about this place.
True.
That was 25 years ago. Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway. It's like, same ratty train. Got it.
Fucking carpet's the same.
No. Yeah, no, I guess the aesthetics were kind of like, different. And there's different restaurants, some of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but there's still like the bathrooms are still like 9 miles apart. So,
Well,
yeah, I don't know. But anyway, so but those are the guys that you see, the guys with the German bag, your bag.
yeah.
So, and mask. Okay, so yeah, and very tall, very very thin. They wear shoes without socks, and pants that are about 4 inches too short, but not long, but too long to be classified as capris. I think that's just the way they do it now. I don't know. So
Okay.
yeah. So, but yeah.
Okay.
And then I did stay in a really cool hotel in Boston that was also filthy with Euro trash.
Jesus Christ, what were they doing there?
I don't know. Oh well, there was a lot of things going on, but they it was just I could tell once. So you'd actually dig this hotel. It's actually a really cool like concept if you're just going solo. It would suck if you had a family. So
Why? What's
so it's got you get like single rooms, okay, and
Okay.
the room has one king size bed, which is as wide as the room, okay,
all right?
and it's up against the window, and then there's like a shower and a toilet encased in like frosted glass that stick out like a phone booth
Okay.
in the room. So for a single guy, wonderful fucking room. Okay, so very clean, very nice, very European. Got the arts and all the things, and so that's why that hotel was probably lousy with Euro trash. So yeah, so
Am I correct in sensing that the room is actually kind of small?
it's very small. Yeah, it's very small. It was like maybe 12 by 20 feet. So 12 by maybe about 25, 30 feet.
This was a place you
What?
booked?
Yeah. And it was not fucking cheap. So, But the thing about it was that it was right over a train station that I needed, and so it was perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
So and but anyway, there were a couple things going on that night. So
Interesting. Yeah.
yeah, first of all, they had the game at Fenway, but then they had the watch party for the Celtics game, which is in the Gardens, which is right underneath the hotel.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
It was, yeah.
Oh.
So, well, maybe like 25 yards away from the hotel. So yeah, I mean, from what I could tell, it's the same fucking building, basically. So, well, not quite, but from the street level. So, but anyway. So that place was lousy with Eurotrash, mask wearing Eurotrash. So,
Wow.
yeah. And so yeah, that's where COVID's still a thing. And then there's a few Asian people that you can see, but that was before COVID.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So he's like, no, I am sick, so I'm not going to get you sick. Kind of thing.
No, and look, I would understand if if they just didn't want to get like American in their breath or something like that. Like, I get it.
You don't want to breathe in America.
It's you don't want to like go to America, breathe a couple of times, and come back and have like a bad attitude toward work or
right. Yeah.
No, what is the God, what do they call it now? That the slow quitting or something like that. It's
yeah, it's quiet quitting.
Yeah. You wouldn't want to catch that.
Yeah, that was like a hot topic like 3 months ago. I don't know if that's still going on, but yeah.
Well, because the whole concept of that is basically you try to do as little as possible, right?
Well, yeah, that or you're trying to just get away until you get away with doing as little as possible while you're looking for a new job. It wasn't like keeping your job and just fucking the dog kind of thing. It was just like keeping a low profile because you're already looking for a new job, and if your boss finds out about it, he's probably going to can you. So
yeah, I always thought that was short timing.
Yeah, well, it's exactly what it is, but of course it's a new generation, so we got to call things new things.
Oh, okay.
We got to call old things new things.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, you're totally right. Yeah. Short timer syndrome. Yeah.
Yeah, because you knew you were on your way out.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Okay. So that's fine. But yeah, that's something that you wouldn't want to catch and bring back to Japan. I guess you.
I hear they're professionals at it. Actually, you can probably learn something from them.
Well,
So, yeah.
I understand. I understand the concept of like we've talked about trying to look busy.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see it. The more that I study this thing in this culture and stuff like that, I'm like, all right, I can see what it is. I can see how you do it. I can see how you do it without thinking you're doing that.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah.
Right? Because if I went in there for the purpose of trying to look busy, right, I know what that would look like for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it would look fake. It would look fake as shit.
It would feel fake after a little while too.
Yeah.
But maybe not right away. Yeah.
No, but do go on. All right. So, with the Eurotrash and all this other stuff, how was the rest of the trip?
Well, most of it was work.
Yeah.
So, I did learn a little bit about AI. So, that was interesting. But that wasn't the purpose of the trip. So, yeah.
I was gonna say, what'd you learn?
Well, which one are you training things on?
I can't say.
Oh, okay. Got it. Yeah. So I learned a little bit about 4 different ones. I'd have to go back and look at my notes on them, but it was basically like, so these are all educators, and I'd say 90% of them are in full-blown fucking panic mode about like education basically making teaching obsolete, which isn't how that works. So
what, AI making?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Right.
And so that though already. So that it's basically it'll generate whatever garbage you want it to. So what did you call it? The mouth to butt pipeline? Or butt to mouth pipeline?
I don't remember, but
you called it something like that. But
yeah, memory doesn't serve, but something like that does it feels familiar.
Well, I didn't use that term during this thing, so but I saw a few presentations where it was like, "Oh, Jeff taught me about this." So, but anyway, um, so and those are like there was only two of those sessions that I went to. The rest were on other stuff that weren't related to AI. Um, but you know, like yeah, we'll have to talk about it off camera a little bit because I don't know if I know what I'm fucking talking about with it. So I'm gonna have to go back and read some of that shit. So before we get a chance to, before I can ask you some intelligent questions about it. So
About AI or
yeah, about using it for as a teaching supplemental tool. So more so than anything else.
everything that I say would be theoretical, man.
That's fine. Yeah.
I mean, I can speak to the processes that I put it through. I can speak to it in terms of what I'm trying to make it do, especially on an educational level.
Okay.
But I can also say it has its limitations.
Yeah. So I did do this one thing where this guy was basically using it to generate new case studies for his class every single quarter. So
Okay.
and it was actually
That I can see, yeah.
yeah, and so he was
absolutely.
like, this is something that, you know, you would do this every 10 years to write down if you wanted to write your own, or if you wanted to go to Harvard Business Review and pay a fucking gobsmack of money. So to get a case that you are allowed to use as long as you pay for the license.
I see, yeah.
So
yeah.
he was like, well, I see AI as a paywall killer here. So because I can, you know, basically train it to, you know, write a case that is as good or as better as the ones that those fuckers at Harvard produce. And, you know, I can create a new one in 10 minutes. So as long as I, you know, kind of learn how to tease it into doing
That's interesting,
what it is that I want it to do. And so I was like, okay, well, that's clever. So, you know, and then there was another guy who was using it to create data sets. He was specifically using ChatGPT, but he was also using, is it Google Colab? So I don't know if you're familiar with that one.
Right offhand, no. But
Yeah. So, but anyway, he was using it to write Python code to actually perform data analysis. So
that I could see.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so and that one was really interesting too. And so I definitely got in touch with that guy.
That sounds like it's right up your alley. Yeah.
Yeah, that one was really interesting because he was like, well, there's two things that I can do. He's like, number one, I can use ChatGPT to actually create like a fake set of data. So because say, hey, give me sales data for XYZ Corp from 1985 to 1995 with you know quarterly report format, blah blah blah. It'll just make it up. Okay.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what it does. Okay. And now that's the part that I didn't understand. Okay, I thought that it was searching for an answer on things, and that's not what it does. What it does is it tries to best predict what you want. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that's fair. Yeah. In some ways, well, because you're the one that's setting the restrictions. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And then what he'll do is he'll, you know, actually do his own methodology so that he was from the same methods that I was trained in. So you'd go into SPSS or go into Stata or whatever stats program you like. And then you would run the analyses on this fake data set. You know, you would run your regressions, you would do your descriptives and your, you know, like figure out what's actually, is there any causal, you know, relationships between some of the variables in this data set, yada, yada, yada. But by using that data set, okay, and then doing the analysis on it, you have the answer in hand. And then you would go back and then you would start using Google Colab to write Python code to actually do the same analysis.
To put the real model in.
Bingo.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
bingo. And I was like, well, that's fucking clever. And he says, because as long as I know how to tell it what I want it to do,
Yeah.
it will do it that way every single time. And I was like, that's interesting. So yeah. But he's like, you have to get the verbiage right and you have to know exactly what you're trying to prompt it for. So in order to do that, you have to test it first on something else.
Right.
But once you have that tool built, then you can go whack at other things with it. So yeah, I was like, that's clever. So anyway, but then there was a whole bunch of other shit on AI, so that I did not go to. So, and I'm kind of wishing that I had, but whatever.
Well, what's the stuff that you went to?
It was teaching, so other teaching stuff. So yeah,
Not just like methods.
yeah, methods, things like that. So, but yeah, and that was most of the week. But then, like I was telling you, the last day was in Boston. And Boston is the fucking coolest city that I think I've ever been to. It really is.
Yeah?
Yeah, it is. It fucking is. I've never had a city treat me better than that city. So it did. So
Did you expect it not to?
I did. I absolutely did. The reputation does not deserve it. People there are nicer than they are here, Jeff.
I'm saying it's Boston. It's not
weird.
Philadelphia, man. It's not.
No, it's not Philadelphia. So, but even all the New Yorkers there were nice. So,
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah.
Well, that was the same thing that we discovered about New York itself, man. When we got there, like, what is how do you guys have this reputation? All of you are friendly.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that dude that helped us with the trains?
Dude, I had several people do that, even after I figured out how the fucking train worked. It was like, hey, you want to go here, here, here? I was like, I think I got it. Do I have to get off at this one? No. You want to get off at this one and walk the extra block. So, and I was like, great, thanks, man. And I had another guy who was like, hey, I'm going that way. Just follow me. He's like,
There you go. Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. Yeah.
So, and then, I mean, like, cars would stop for you. See, that's different than New York. All right.
Yeah, that place has its own lifeblood when it comes to
in pedestrians. You do take your life in your own
Yeah.
hands, but in Boston they do stop for you. So, which was weird. So,
well, it's small.
in fact, you'd have like guys wave you across,
Oh.
kind of thing. It was odd. So
It's smaller. I mean, that's the.
it doesn't look well. It's I don't know how much smaller it is. So, but that whole area is pretty built up, man. So, I mean, I flew right over it going in and out. Because you kind of, to get in the airport there, you kind of kick out over the ocean. And then you come in from sea. So, and then when you're taking off, you take off right over the city. So,
Okay.
yeah. But, so you can see the whole thing. And it's pretty fucking big. So yeah, it's not Manhattan, but nothing's Manhattan big. So
well, that's what I'm saying. If you're,
I would say it's Denver big. So
right.
yeah.
I'm certainly not saying it's like look at this place. It thinks it's Oklahoma City. No, nothing like that. It's just that when you're that close of neighbors to that place, and you have had a rivalry since I don't know.
1912 when they built the motherfucker. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, I mean,
then.
it goes. I would argue it goes further back than that.
Well, Boston's one of the 4 original teams. The Yankees are not.
No, I'm not talking about the baseball. I'm talking about.
The cities.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
I imagine
that goes back to the Revolution. Yeah. But it's a friendly rivalry. It's different, man. So there's not hate there like there is in Denver for Las Vegas. So, yeah, it's different. So
for Las Vegas.
Oh, the Raiders. So.
Yeah. Right. Okay, yeah.
Or whatever city in which the Raiders reside. That becomes the Mason-Dixon line.
I think. I honestly think at this point, I think it stays in Las Vegas, because there's no version of things where like Oakland is a shithole.
Oh yeah, but there's no reason to move out of Vegas. They got a brand new stadium that's shaped exactly like a Roomba. So,
there you go. Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. No, they're not ever leaving Vegas, and that's why the A's are trying so hard to try and get there. So because they know that's a permanent home because. Oh well, my team's playing in Vegas. Let's go. Kind of thing. It's a destination for visitors. So
it is another one of those like what's going on over here kind of things.
It is. Yeah.
It's like I can catch a football game. It's like yes you can.
Yes you can. Yes you can.
Yes you absolutely can.
Yeah.
And that's genius. And look, I understand. So it's funny watching certain walls like come down within our time, right? So for the longest time, I mean, they used to talk about it and say like, why is there no Las Vegas sports team? And the answer, of course, was
too hot.
Oh well, no. the argument was at the time was that Las Vegas was too controlled by gambling. They didn't want it tainted by that image, and they didn't want. There was a fear that there would be some kind of like interference.
Oh, yeah, I slightly recall that.
It well, for a long time it was. I mean, and
Before
this is
online gambling became a thing.
this is what I'm talking
exactly,
about. Is the normalization of gambling happened. I don't even know how to describe it. It's one of those things that you knew somebody that was doing it, right? Then it was just mainstream, right?
Oh, now it's advertised everywhere.
Yeah. And so at that point, it's like, well, why not have a team in Las Vegas, right? It's because back in the day when all of your bookmaking basically had to go through Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. Okay, I get it, but given that the whole thing is now done basically electronically and all this other shit, it's a way different story.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, then on top of it, I mean, expanding the league is not easy. So it's only happened once in our lifetimes. So
well, they didn't expand it.
Well, didn't we have those 4 expansion teams?
Oh. Well, I thought I was
like
talking
92?
about. I was talking about moving to Las Vegas. I'm like, no, they just moved. Nobody expanded.
Oh no, I know that, but like teams didn't used to do that except for on really rare occasions. So I mean, back in the day, I mean, like, remember when the Browns originally left and they fucking tore the stadium to pieces? Yeah. And okay, so there's one.
Well,
and then the Oilers moved, so it became the Texans. So
no, they became the Titans.
Oh, you're right, they became the Titans. Yeah.
Then the Texans opened up shop.
Where did Cleveland go to?
Cleveland went to Baltimore.
That's right. They became the Ravens. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. That's right. So it wasn't an all the time kind of thing. Yeah, you gotta have a team that kind of like they have to be in a bad market to want to move. But I could see back in the '90s when people were making those kinds of moves and stuff like that. We definitely had that argument about sports gambling. I mean, that's not that far removed from Pete Rose. So it's what, about 15 years?
Yeah, that's the weird thing about it. And what's weird about those examples you just gave are both of those cities got their teams back.
Eventually, yeah.
So, I mean, that would be, yeah, you're right. So 4 expansion teams, 2 are basically the same cities that they came from, and then Jacksonville and Carolina. Yeah.
Well, and baseball had the expansion about the same time. That's when the Rockies became a team. So
yeah, Rockies and Marlins came in at the same time, the same year.
But they're still the 2 youngest teams in the league, aren't they?
I don't think so.
I think they are.
No, because the Tampa Bay Devil Rays.
I thought they weren't they the Expos?
Well, we're talking about a move. Okay, right. So, all right. So
maybe I might be wrong about that.
No, I think you're right.
Yeah, because there used to be 2 Canada teams.
Yeah, Montreal and Toronto.
Right.
Toronto's still there.
Toronto's still there. I think Montreal moved to Florida. Yeah. So, well, that would technically make the Rays the youngest team. So,
if you count that as a new team, I mean, that's a weird thing, man.
Well, Dodgers. I mean, come on, man. They're one of the original 4 teams.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
They just moved in the 50s. So,
but they kept the name.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
The location changed, but I mean, so
I think if you change your name, you basically etch a sketch it out. So
to me, that makes it because I mean the same thing of Baltimore Colts when they went to Indianapolis, right? They're still the Colts,
right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Right. See, this is a weird one. To me, it feels like it makes more sense if you change the name that you're starting over.
Yeah.
Because I mean that's how we have the Colorado Avalanche. We used to be the Quebec Nordiques.
Right.
And I will say this: there are nights. They will occasionally do hockey nights where they play in Nordiques uniforms.
I have seen that. Yeah, I have seen that. Those are weird looking.
That's old school hockey, man. There's a speaking of aesthetics, there is a time and a place for an aesthetic
Dude,
like
I
that.
remember when
It's not-
Burger King had those colors, man. You know?
back when they had ashtrays, bro.
Right, yeah, I know, the little tin ones.
Yeah. Shit, dude, they may as well have been menus back then. I mean, it's to go that far back. I would imagine that like the Happy Meals still had like metal toys.
Yeah, wind up toys or something. Yeah.
But you know, for the longest time, it was they had. I think they still do. I think they still do Matchbox cars.
Well, there's a boy toy and a girl toy, and so they rotate. But
Well, it's genderless enough where you can say like I want the car or I want the other thing, whatever the girl toy would be. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't.
it's been a while since I've gotten a Happy Meal, so.
Yeah, I'm not.
Well, my daughter used to get them all the time.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So yeah, so it's not that far removed, but you know, there's something kind of genius about the Happy Meal, but
You're absolutely right.
yeah, it's man, McDonald's does not fuck around. That company does not fuck around at all. So they figure out what works and they stick with it. So
Well, what's funny, like if you remember the man, we were just starved for news back in the day where they were clowning on like the colossal flop of the Arch Deluxe and stuff like that. And it's funny because if you look at it by any modern metric, you're like, so what?
it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Or the McTasty or whatever. So
Yeah, there was that. There was they had a McDLT.
oh yeah, they did.
Which is, you know, essentially the same thing they were doing with the Arch Deluxe.
Yep.
Because the McDLT was
Served on a brioche bun. Yeah.
well. Remember, the McDLT kept the hot and the cold.
Right.
So
yeah.
it would, yeah. That was the trick on that. I mean, this is shit where like I remember this was like big news for like a year.
Yeah.
And it's such like it's such a nothing burger of a story in history. It's like,
Fuck, I miss those days now, man.
you know what?
Now everything is a fucking catastrophe.
Yeah, you know,
So every
it's true.
24 hours.
You're not lying, man. It's like, you sure this wasn't just like a small kitchen fire? It's like, nope, everything's
No.
$10.
Yeah.
Everything's 5 alarm. It's like,
Yeah.
oh my god.
It's
Oh.
the end of days. Again.
Well, Patrick says we are currently in Cuban Missile Crisis #2
Why?
because Russia has warships in Cuba right now.
They have 3 ships in Cuba, only one of which is actually a warship. And I think the Coast Guard could sink that thing. So, yeah. I think they got it. Yeah, they sent a supply ship and a tugboat and a destroyer. Mighty Navy.
Excuse me.
Yeah, yeah.
Cuban Missile
I'm
Crisis
sorry,
#2.
Cuban Missile,
I'm
right,
sorry.
Cuban Missile,
Yes,
I'm
yes,
sorry.
yes.
I jumped off the narrative train there for a second.
No, Patrick, you forget that a very lopsided war between Israel and Palestine is the bridge to World War III.
Yeah,
Supposedly.
supposedly. Well, eventually they're going to get the idea. So, Israel's obviously not going away. So,
No, they at this point they have a point to prove, and God bless them. They can prove it all they want. I don't care. I mean, I guess at this
it's their
point,
country, man. Not my
yeah,
problem.
it is their country.
Yeah.
It is not my problem. And the idea that that they getting into a conflict was somehow going to draw in every world power to draw sides. I'm like, This isn't like 1910. It's not.
No, man, this is in the beginning of a big game of Risk.
No.
So, no. I mean, Ukraine thing's kind of the same way too, man. So,
I did see that Putin did put out his he put out his peace feelers. Did you see? Okay, you're laughing because
yeah, I saw this. Give me everything I want, and we can have a ceasefire.
well, he
This
wanted
was negotiation 101, man.
he wanted one specific thing.
What's that?
He said, okay, so we'll stop fighting if Ukraine agrees never to join NATO.
No, he still wants them to evacuate from those 4 oblasts. So,
Well, that
yeah, that was the first thing on his list. So, and then the NATO thing was at the end, and then it was like, oh, and we want you to lift all the sanctions immediately, and then we can have a ceasefire. So, did you notice that like everybody in Europe got together like 2 days ago to discuss Ukrainian peace, and the Russians didn't even show up?
yeah.
You know what's funny about that?
Huh.
We did that 3 times during World War II. We didn't invite the Germans to that. So, it was basically so everybody else could get on the same page.
Well, I mean, I think this again, it's one of the funny things about business over there. So, Patrick, who up until about like 3 weeks ago, who was the biggest supplier of gasoline, oil to Europe?
Gasoline?
Well, yeah,
Probably us.
it was.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
You know who it is now?
Us.
No,
Who?
Russia.
To Europe?
Yep.
Why?
The
Gas or oil?
I believe it was gas.
Okay.
And this is well because I mean we refine the shit just like they do.
Well, there's only like 3 or 4 places actually in the world that refine a lot of gas.
We're one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's us, Russia,
Yeah, Texas,
India,
yeah.
and China.
Yeah.
So yeah, actually, I don't even know. Yeah, China does. Yeah, they do. So
Yeah, so it's kind of funny that for all the talk of sanctions and all that other stuff, it's like, well, you're still buying their gasoline, dude. If you want to put an end to this, that would not be the case. But
they might. You never know, man. So you never know. Never would have thought Germany would be giving them fucking cruise missiles. So, and that's happening. So
no, I did not.
Yeah.
But that being said, I will say that the governments in Europe did go through I don't want to say a predictable, but a pronounced political change in their most recent elections. So,
well, that was just for European Parliament.
yes,
Yeah, we're gonna
but
have
that
to
being
see.
said, it's also something that is,
Was it that much?
it was
I thought
significant.
it was 35 seats out of like 6,000 or 600. So is that a big deal? I don't know.
Like, you divided, man.
Well, no, I don't know if that's actually like it doesn't normally move by 1. Then 35 would be
So
a big fucking deal,
it's my understanding is a lot of this is pretty static. But then again, they also have like 5 parties, so it's
Oh, in the European Parliament.
yeah. The thing was, they were all lost from the left side,
Was it the green side or the social
mostly
side?
the green.
Yeah.
Yeah, the green side got fucking shellacked. But
Yeah, that's because those are those idiots who keep throwing shit on paintings and stuff and not allowing the Germans to actually keep running their nuclear plants. So, which caused everything to go up in prices over there.
yeah, don't do that. No.
Yeah, I
it's,
know. So that's a good way to lose seats, but I don't know if that's actually like the parliament. I don't see. I have no idea how European Parliament works. So
It's bizarre. Well, so I know that's also it's funneling over into their local elections as well. So
yeah. Well, depending on the country, that could have a big deal. So, but I don't know, man. I mean, it's just like,
well, it's every single one of them. It's the same issue.
what?
Immigration.
Yeah, that's true.
Every single one of it's the same issue. So
Yeah, but that's a EU problem. So that's not really a Ukraine problem.
No.
So
Well, this is what I'm saying is perhaps with some of the government change, things might look different, but I don't know.
oh, for Ukraine, I
Yeah.
don't know. I doubt that. Dude, if everybody cut off their money to them tomorrow, they'd still fight them with fucking AK-47s and RPGs and drones with C4 strapped to them.
Oh yeah, yeah, I
So
know.
yeah, I mean, I was looking at that the other day. Russia has managed to gain 23 fucking miles of territory in 2.5 years. That's it. That's it. After hundreds of thousands of people are dead. Russia ain't gonna win. They can't eat it. So it's too big. Too big. It's too greasy. I can't put that in my mouth. So that's funny. At the conference, I
Yeah.
actually did meet a couple Russians. So
Did you?
yeah, they were nice people. So they were very nice people. They were from Canada. So I did not ask them about the Ukraine thing. So I figured it wasn't my business. So,
Well, it's a tough thing for anytime that you see somebody of a nationality to sort of ask them to speak on or be the subject matter expert of all things in their country or where they come from. It's always sort of a weird thing to do.
they made it very clear that they were from Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll just leave it at that. So, because I didn't talk to them that long, but yeah,
I mean, it was interesting for a while to have different sides where, yes, it was like I was working with people that of course they're here, but originally from Russia or from Ukraine.
right.
So they would have different. It was
Oh, when you were tutoring,
yeah. It was okay. So the interesting thing was a lot of the answers were the same, and a lot of the answers were as ambiguous as I've talked about, right?
yeah,
Where so I can point at certain things in history and say the Boston Tea Party was a reaction to this, and it happened on this day for this reason and achieved these results.
Yeah.
Right? So I turn around and ask that same kind of question to Ukrainians and to Russians in reverse. And I don't get those kind of answers. There's-
beginning,
yeah. Actually,
before the siege drank Atlantis.
it's funny, yeah, because you're not kidding, because it would be like, so in 850 they formed something called the Rus.
Right,
Like,
yeah, okay.
go on.
Go on.
And then it's like, okay, so I'd like to show you a picture. This is a house in the area where you can tell it by its distinctive way that the fireplace and oven is central to the home. Like,
So these people elected Vladimir Putin? No.
I'm getting there. I know, dude. It's a little bit wacky. And and to the thing is, that's not even the place on the globe that has the greatest history, that has these things going back this far.
Oh, no. Yeah. No, we spent multiple years fighting wars in those places over the last couple of decades. And so
Yeah.
I think they were just content to leave them be. So
After, I don't know, man. I don't remember I don't think it was in our lifetime when the policy was they'll sort themselves out.
no, it's basically the Carter Doctrine. Is like a war in the Middle East is basically a war involving America.
Right.
So, which every president since then has upheld.
Yeah.
With the exception of the current one. So, to his credit, I don't think he remembers what he did. But he did do that.
Jesus Christ. Seeing that dude get tard wrangled, across the stage of every event that he's going to, I'm like, this is.
I've gone from anger to pity.
That's all it is.
Yeah, it's pity.
Yeah.
It's absolute pity. So, yeah, I did see that. I saw that on my news feed today. I was like, oh.
Yeah,
Please,
watching
someone give that guy a blanket.
yeah,
So,
watching Obama like walk him around, I'm like, oh my god,
dude, that made me stomach turn.
that was the one I
Yeah,
was like,
that made my stomach turn a little bit. So,
because I feel like in that moment, I feel like he probably thought that Obama was still president.
it's possible, yeah. If you recognized him. So,
Jesus, yeah, there's that too.
yeah, so you remember when I was telling you that I killed off a lot of subscriptions? One of the subscriptions I did kill off was the Wall Street Journal. And unfortunately, they had a really good story the other day about like what was going on in the Democratic deep state. So, yeah, regarding the potential for convention shenanigans. So
Do go on.
I couldn't read it. I was behind the paywall. So sorry.
Well, yeah, that sucks.
I'd like to kind of know.
Yeah, but you killed it though.
I did kill it. Sorry, man. I'm on a budget now, so I got shit that I got to save up for. So, yeah.
What are you gonna buy?
I'm getting my yard put in, man.
Oh.
So yeah, that's not gonna be cheap. So, but it's also like one of those things. I did see that on my phone scroll. I was like, oh, I'd like to read that, but I'm not on campus. I can't use their ad.
like can't. Yeah, they found a way to lock you out of that license, huh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of rough. I feel like that for educators, something like that should just be treated like the copier key. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
if you work for the university, it's good everywhere.
So it'll be if I was on my campus, if I had a campus IP address, I could get around that. So by going through the library site. So
And again, I don't think they should make you. I think it should be just if you are part of the family, you are always learning, and these things should just be part of.
I'm sure the campus would love it for it to be that way. I think it's the Wall Street Journal that's probably the problem. Teacher here. Here's a free shake.
Dude, don't even joke about it. Don't even joke about it.
Teacher
I am so sick of these people. They're just the most miserable. Well, I want to take you back to maybe you have students like this, maybe you don't. Maybe this is just something that's over and done with. But do you still have students these days that, by merit of asking a question, they're using it to basically piggyback their own credentials into the answer?
Students?
Yes.
No. None of my students have credentials. They know that. At least not questions they would ask me.
Okay. See, like back in the day, there was a little bit of that where, like let's take like Mr. Castle guy or something like that, where they would pose the question in a way to brag about what they know.
Oh, yeah, sure. Okay, now I see what you're saying.
So, it doesn't mean they necessarily have to say, first lieutenant, junior, medieval society, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But do you know what I'm talking about?
I know. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about now.
Okay, so the room is full of those people.
Oh yeah, I don't see that as much as I used to, but when I taught at the community college, I used to see that shit all the time because I'd have people like, well, when I was in the army, or
Sure.
I get that all the time, when I was leading men in battle. So
There you go.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I had one guy, I was teaching a business law class, and he was actually a former judge. So
Really?
yeah, I was like, what are you doing here? And he was wearing his prison blues, man. So he had just gotten released. So
Well, that would explain what he's doing there.
exactly. And so that's one of the things that you do when you get out of prison is you go enroll at the community college. And so to keep your nose clean for a little bit. So
And I presume you didn't.
I did not ask him.
There's
why
only
he
one
was there.
question anybody would want to know, but you can't ask it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he actually enlightened us. So
Oh.
later on, but
Oh, okay.
Um,
Because yeah, the question is, what'd you do?
well, that was instantaneously on my mind.
Yeah.
So, and he knew that already.
But you can't ask that.
No, he didn't
Yeah.
ask that. It was him who later told everybody, so that he had actually gotten hit on a bribery charge and he was guilty. So
He took the bribe.
he took the bribe.
Right.
So he said he had a little problem with gambling.
Okay.
Yeah. So
See, here's the problem with that is much like the Tim Donaghy thing in the NBA, where yes, he was actively changing the outcome of games for gambling reasons. When judges go down for taking bribes,
right.
okay, unfortunately, even if it's just one, it's the sort of situation that throws certain decisions into question.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I hate that.
Yeah. Well, and he hated it too because he said there was a lot of guys that he put in jail who needed to be there who got out later because he had done that. So, yeah, and he's like, that's why I didn't fight it. So, I was like, all right. So, thanks for sharing.
Oh, I guess that's weighing on you a little bit there, buddy.
It was definitely weighing on him
Yeah.
a little bit. He was an interesting guy. So.
Absolutely, I can imagine,
But yeah, I've had guys like see that's an okay one. It's like, okay, you actually are credentialed. Thank you.
right.
I've had other people. It's like, well, I wrote a story about a judge one day. So you go, wait a minute, you wrote a story? Okay, did you research? No, I made it up. Okay, got it. All right, Reddit man.
Yeah, that's a tough spot. But yeah, it's that exact same kind of phony bravado that it's just it. I feel like there's just something about that and a Slack channel that just they go together like chocolate and peanut butter. Like I don't. It's like in the same way that like Discord attracts
pedophiles.
I was gonna say minor attracted persons, but yes, you're
Minor
absolutely right.
attracted person.
That's how they prefer to be called now, MAPs.
Well, fuck that, you pedo.
I'm not fighting with you.
Yeah.
But in the same way that Discord attracts those, I feel like Slack attracts that same kind of not enough butter over too much bread. Just douchebaggery with expertise, man. It's.
I can't stand Slack. I cannot stand it, man. Fortunately, I haven't had to use it in a long time.
It's terrible.
It is terrible.
terrible.
It's truly
Yeah.
awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate that place. I hate the people in it. I hate how disorganized it is. It's just the. I think the only merit of it, I think it's free.
It's free. I mean, for some reason, it's really popular in IT circles. So I don't know why. I'm not an IT guy, so
Well, don't they have other programs that are similar to this?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sure, but for some reason, it was what all the cool kids were using back in 2016. So and
All right, fair enough.
yeah, it's kind of stuck around a little bit. But like that might be a function of the people that are on it too. Like Slack channels are invite.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you gotta screen people at the door. So
I guess that is the sole merit of if you're going to have 270 separate designations within a company that you're going to break it down to. I guess it's efficient that way, but the interface sucks, and every time I've been in there, the people that are there suck too.
yeah. Yeah, I haven't worked for an organization a long time that used it. So I don't know. It would, yeah, like I said, it's kind of like, yeah, but it's just like Discord. It's who you let in the door. So, and then, whether or not you actually just give them a microphone and license to say whatever the fuck they want to say. So, I mean, you can monitor a Slack channel and say, hey, this is a work channel. That shit's not appropriate. Fucking knock that off. That's a management function. So, you know.
No, there is that, and I know that you know, one of the things that they'll always do is they'll always set up a quote unquote water cooler channel.
Oh no, that gets deleted.
If you're asking me, yes.
Yeah. Oh no, we do business here. If you want to get together, hey, that's that guy's real name. Go find him on Facebook. You know, you can talk about that shit all you want over there. If I was actually a manager in a company that had a Slack channel and I saw shit about Gaza on my Slack, I'd be like, I'm deleting that immediately and I'm warning the two people who put that up there. So, yeah. And I'm going to do it publicly. So, because this, you know, fucking discipline behind closed doors is a bullshit technique. So, you need to do it. If you're going to discipline somebody, you do it in front of fucking everybody. So,
I would agree. Would you agree that there are times when it's necessary to do it behind closed doors?
the only time that's necessary is when there's some kind of legal issue that actually exposes your other people to some kind of problem. So, yes. So, if it's like sexual harassment, yes, that needs to be done behind
Right.
closed doors. But then what you do is you call everybody together afterwards and say, hey, I had to have a closed door meeting last week. Okay. Now, I can't divulge what it was about, but next Friday, we're doing a training on sexual harassment. Your attendance is mandatory.
All right, no, I got you. But are there like I feel like there are there not like circumstances where like somebody did something wrong that would be like a write-upable offense, but
Yeah, sure.
it was like totally an accident where you pull somebody and it's like, hey, what you did here, like, I know you didn't do this on purpose, but here's like the things where you're going to cut somebody some slack.
If it's something that's already been established as procedure and nobody else is violating the procedure except for that employee, sure. Okay, but if it's something where this is a problem and it's been a problem and I need to address this problem, fuck no, we do that fucking all hands before the mast.
No, it sounds like you. It sounds like you have a gallows.
Yeah.
See, this is
See, and I do that with my students. I do that with my colleagues too. The people come and say, "Hey, I need to tell you something confidence." I'm like, I don't need to know it. So I don't need to know it. So if it's not something you can tell me in front of the water cooler, it's not something I really need to know. So it makes them think twice about bringing things to you. So, you know, which is a good thing. So
for employees or
oh yeah,
or coworkers.
coworkers in particular. So employees, if I have an employee who has a problem like that, yes, okay, you can come talk to me. You have my confidence because I'm the boss. I get paid to do that.
Yeah. I was gonna say like if somebody wanted to like, hey, I can't tell.
I don't do
this-
that with students though.
Oh, no, that's different.
Yeah, that's different. I do not let my students ever get me alone time one-on-one.
No, you can direct them to. There are people they can talk to about that.
That's what I tell
So it's
them.
like,
I've had a couple, hey, I need to tell you something really personal. It's like, it's not my business. So I'm gonna list 5 people who could probably help you with this. Okay? So and if the problem that you're having is not on this list, okay, so then I can find somebody who, you know, will help you with this, but it's not my business.
Well, you're like, because the last person on this list is like the president of the company, so he better be able to help you.
Yeah, he better be able to help you. Yeah, so like even that even happened not too long ago. I had a student who was having a real problem with. She was an athlete and she was having a real problem with her coach. So and it's like,
Right.
oh, it's like, ugh, that's not that is not the place where you insert, you know, a third party. So you need to get somebody higher on the food chain. So within, you know, that department in on that, because that's not something that you can bring in someone like me to help you with. So yeah, but yeah, no, but like coworkers, I hate that rumor bullshit. You know, that people, oh, you know, well, I found out this out. Let me tell you about it. It's like I don't want to know about it. So you know, it's not my business. So. Yeah, I've had a couple colleagues. I've had a couple of my colleagues do that, where they come in. It's like, hey, can I tell you about something? And you close the door. Though, it's like, I don't need to know about it. So, no offense, I like you. Okay, I think you're a good dude, but I I don't want to get involved in things like that. So, you know.
What if they? Okay, would you do the same thing? Like if they were like, "Can I run something by you?"
Yeah, that's fine as long as you leave the door open.
Right.
If you're comfortable leaving that door open, we can talk anything you want. So if you want that door closed, that's not going to happen. So yeah.
Like if they were coming to you for a legitimate, like, yo, man, what would you do in this situation?
Oh yeah, sure. No, dude, I do that all the time.
All right.
So yeah.
All right.
I mean, I'll do that with students. They say, "Well, I'm having this problem with this professor." Blah blah blah. It's like, okay, well, that's his class and that's what he does. Okay, and so you have to respect that. That's his that ship is his ship. Okay, he's going to run it the way that he wants to run it, whether or not you like it that way, run that way, or whether or not I like it, run that way. But if I was a student, this is how I would approach that. So I do that. So
no,
like I mean, I tell my Joan Ray story. So where I had to fucking beg her for mercy. So I had to get on my knees and beg. So and it worked. She didn't fail me. She gave me a D-, but she didn't fail me.
I feel like it's something that we all have to go through, man.
I never thought that I would actually literally have to grovel.
Well, you've done it once. You know what it's like.
I know what it's like. It's a good story now.
It is a good story.
It felt terrible at the time, but it's fine.
Yeah, you're over it now, but I also know
now.
it means that you don't want to do it again.
I don't want to get and see, that's the problem, is I let myself get in that situation. So, and that's what you need to learn from something like that.
Yeah.
So, oh, that was weird.
Sorry.
What is that?
That is a... I'm sorry, that is a tile square.
A tile square?
Yeah.
What is a tile square?
Oh, so these are the things that, like, you throw these in like your moving boxes. And...
Oh, okay, got it. Oh, is that where your dog? You attach that to your dog?
I have attached that to my dog.
Okay.
I'm trying out a different one because what's funny is the battery is dying, and when I went to go order a new battery, a different tag was almost exactly the same price. So I'm like, let me try this one here and see if I like it any better.
How long do those last?
A few months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with them. I mean, they do have a purpose. They're not... what I'm ultimately going to do is I'm ultimately going to get the GPS tracker thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I've looked into... Those are expensive.
It's like $200.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And they have other ones that are less, but you pay like a monthly charge for them. Like,
I was going to do that with my cars. I was going to get the low jack, and that's how that works. So, but that was like a couple of years ago when we actually had a couple cars get boosted out of our neighborhood. So, that's kind of stopped. And that was that Kia crowd that were going after the Kias. So,
all right.
Because apparently they're pretty easy to steal. I don't know. So
pretty easy to steal, probably easy to turn around then, huh?
That was the rumor, yeah. So
I don't remember that.
The cops kind of busted that up maybe like 2 years ago. I don't know.
Same like group of dorks.
Yeah, it's kind of a roving group of dorks.
I would say just like I feel like if you're stealing cars here, you're kind of like second rate. I don't mean that in a negative way. It's just like you're not big time. You're not.
Are you gonna go boost cars in Denver?
I don't even want to say Denver. I mean it's not something where.
Dude, it happens in the smallest of towns.
Yeah, but you being like a car thief, right? Here. You're not going into a restaurant and they're like setting a double table up in front of the stage for you. You know, it's not.
Oh, right.
It's not like that. It's not.
No, man, but I don't know if that's what you're trying to do. So if you're trying to make a quick buck, I bet you this town's pretty good.
All right.
Yeah.
I guess we have.
I know you always look at through like comic book, like what's the narrative?
Right,
here?
right.
Yeah.
What's the narrative of why you're stealing cars?
Why are you stealing cars? What are you trying to prove in the
Right,
movie?
right. Yeah. No, you're right. And I guess part of that. And when it comes to car theft, I'm going to be thinking about, of course, the car stealing game, which has very little to do with stealing cars. Really,
You still
it's not,
shockingly few cars in that game.
it's not. Yeah, it's
I mean, you
the
rob
name
a
of the
bank
game.
for crying out loud.
Yeah.
So and a jewelry store.
And you're trying to get your boat back, and
you get your boat back,
and you're pulling a dude's house down and all that other shit. Or like
shooting up a military convoy.
right.
In California.
Yeah, I know. So it's sort of I don't want to say it's lost its way. I played the original game on my PC way back in
I
the
never
day.
played that one. I
Yeah, I
didn't
bought
play
it.
any of them until
Yeah.
4. So yeah. When's 6 due out? Isn't it due out next year? Or have they said yet?
I think you're right. I think it is due out next year, but
Sorry, Jeff.
at
I
least
don't
that's what
watch
they're saying.
games journalism anymore. So
Good for you. There was more controversy this
really,
week.
what trans issue did it involve this time? What fucking awesome game is not like dumb enough for the writers out there now?
Well, okay, so the two big controversies this week were, of course, IGN is going to be part of this. So there's a Chinese company that they were giving a whole lot of grief to with a game that's not out yet, and they were saying that they had problematic employees and a hostile work environment.
Dude, it's China.
Patrick, well, that's not even the worst part. Is IGN was basing this off of
In China, you get hired based on how attractive you are, right? That's
that,
a real thing.
that would be Asia.
Oh, well, okay. I mean, parts of it aren't that bad. So.
Excuse me, South Korea is the plastic.
Okay, all right, you got me.
Now let's pretend that
I submit.
let's pretend that Japanese eyeballs normally look the way that they do.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, but so the thing was they were saying this company had a lot of problematic tweets and things like this. Well, it turns out that their entire basis for this was based on mistranslations.
Oh, okay.
Right? So it was something that was basically unverified, within the hour. But this is something that, as a journalist, you're supposed to double check.
No, they don't do that in games.
No, not at all. No, not at all. And
never, ever let overchecking ruin a good story. So, yeah.
Well, in this marketplace, no.
You're right.
Right? This isn't the old days when there's 25. Well, I would say no. I would say at their height. When would you say we had the most powerful newspapers around the country? Like when they really had weight behind their name.
Probably the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, and how many would you say?
Oh, a couple dozen.
Dozen.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we go with
you used to be able to name them all. It's like the Post Chronicle, the San Francisco Chronicle. What was the one in Seattle? The Post Dispatch or whatever it was?
Yeah.
The LA Times was just as big as fucking New York
LA Times, yes.
Denver Post,
the Miami
Chicago
Herald,
Tribune, the Miami Herald,
the Boston,
the Atlanta Journal, the Globe,
Yeah.
the Boston Globe. Yeah, you had a lot of fucking.
So there were some heavy hitters back then,
Yeah.
right? So back in those days, you'd verify your shit.
Oh yeah, you get your shit called out by like 15 other fucking people if you got it wrong.
And it wasn't just, it just wasn't within the network. The other newspapers would give you shit.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, like internally, you'd be catching shit too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, big time. But so it's not like that anymore.
No.
Right? It's not the Sun Times.
No.
What was the other one? What was the one that Cisco worked for? The Tribune.
Chicago Tribune.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Did you call out that one? You did, didn't you?
I think I did. Yeah.
Was there a big St. Louis one?
Yeah, I think there was. There's definitely ones from Texas too that were missing. So, the Star Bulletin was Dallas.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
I think
But there were a bunch of them, man.
there were.
So yeah.
There were.
Oh.
The Baltimore Sun.
Oh yeah. I'm sure that like a lot of them still exist, and so I mean the Denver Post still exists.
Yeah.
It's nothing compared to what it used to be. All it does is just online listicles and bullshit like that, and like you still get local news and things, but you know, like it's not like it used to be. So yeah, and like see like local news, you still get fact checked on that because you usually have two other competing stations nearby. So.
Right.
And they're all looking for those regional West, Emmys or whatever. So,
Right. Yeah, and the other one was there was a one of the I think she was from Kotaku, of course. What was her name? Alyssa Mercante, where she was she talked some shit and then she basically said and if you don't like it, I will fight you personally. To at which point, people were like, just time and place.
Yeah.
And then she set her Twitter account to private. Yeah, because she was like, and nobody's going to call me on it because they're just a bunch of internet pussies. And then, yeah, there were about, I don't know.
Was she high when she wrote that? Of course they were going to.
No, she wasn't.
Yeah. She's just that dumb.
She's just that dumb.
Oh, okay.
She's a fucking journalist.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they don't... Look, man, this is the kind of stuff that I've joked about in the past where it's like, what would work here is like a little bit of dignity. Like, I argue that if you want to have that sense of journalism back, take the fucking, like, metal out of your face, right?
Right.
Get a regular pair of glasses.
Yeah.
Okay? Paint your hair a color that occurs in nature, right? And put on a fucking suit and represent yourself this way, right? And don't go on these dumb shows where you have a bunch of, like, clapping millennials with you, right? Where you're all wearing those stupid like flannel shirts and you all have the same beard and all that other same shit, right? Don't go on there. Go to a place with a reputation. If you want to elevate journalism, if you want to elevate whatever it is, prove that you're part of that, right?
Yeah, I don't think anybody really wanted to do that. So they're writing about games when they don't really want to write about games. And so we know that.
We do, and especially with organizations that have said like, well, we don't need these articles, we need more walkthroughs, right?
Yeah.
You want to take these people that went to these schools and say like, well, actually no, what you need to tell people is it's 14 steps in that direction, right?
Yeah.
You're going to hit the search function 14 times to open a hidden chest.
Yeah.
This is what you need to be doing.
Yeah, but it's getting worse. Jeff the Blight is starting to affect other parts of the journalistic landscape now. What I thought would be basically a long-standing kind of like a bulwark against the Blight.
Why? Who they get at?
They got Forbes. So Forbes is the next one that has gone to complete shit. So, and I'm going to tell you why. It was because they let games journalists in there. So
They did,
which brought in a whole
and the
bunch.
wrong ones, I can tell you. Like
but see what happens then is then you start attracting that Reddit frogman crowd. So, all right, and then what starts to happen is you get really high hits on your articles because people are mad at you.
Yeah.
But then you notice that some of your other articles that you've been publishing also get high hits from the frogman crowd. Okay, and I think I saw the like there's that point in time where a dude's gonna you just say, oh, you're gonna be all right, you're gonna be all right, so it's fine. So and then all of a sudden you see like the X-ray, okay, that's like, oh, that's all cancer. Oh fuck, you're done. Kind of. I think I saw that for Forbes the other day. Okay, when they actually did a full on scroll bait coverage of the Miami bikini show. And I was like, you guys are done. You guys are done. So, you guys are done.
Hang on. Something like that, I won't necessarily say that is metastasized to the liver, right? Because that's
it's definitely in the lungs, man. I mean, you might be able to live without one, but
no, okay. Because I want to say this, like there has been so papers of repute in times. Yeah, they have something like that every now and then, right?
I've never seen Forbes do it.
In
man.
the same way, look, man, just in the same way, like Sports Illustrated had 51 other regular issues, right?
So Sports Illustrated was smart because it limited that to one special thing.
What I'm saying. So
that you knew you were going to get in the mail. You could opt out of it if you wanted to, okay? So, or you could just buy that, But like with Forbes and their online site, this is like, bang, highest top billing, blah, blah, blah. And so I was like, why is this showing up on my newsfeed here? And it was like, oh, because you let all those guys in here, didn't you? And they drive ad revenue, don't they? So
all I'm saying is that if left in isolation, if it is something where, okay, remember, this is the it's on you whether or not to actually react to the stimulus that you have here. So as you said, as you keep referring to these people as the Reddit frogman crowd, which I have nothing but joy for, because I haven't called him that yet, but I will. If you go ahead and basically do an experimental piece, like in their thing when they pulled in who they thought were basically like reputable games journalists, but the rest was like, you're a douche, right? Anybody who was in the business like sees like, okay, I see why they got you.
Yeah, sure.
But
yeah.
Anybody that's within games, it's like every now and then when they refer to a comedian as he's a stand-ups comedian, right? That means that regular people don't find him funny. That means that
right, yeah,
stand-ups within that basically like, you know what? I appreciate what you're doing, right? I see it on a different level than other people do, right? And so in that same vein, they'll sit there and take people that are like, oh, okay, well, you seem to have credentials. You seem to have this, the normal things that we'd look for. But the rest was like, you're a fucking douche. You're just you're a stuck up asshole. But so if you throw that out there, same thing with the bikini review, right? You throw it out there, and let's say it's super popular. Yeah. Right? And when I say popular, gets hits, not popular. Nobody fucking reads these things. They're just going to click at it, be mad at it, right? Yeah. So if you do that, and then adjust, if you come in there and say like, all right, so this is what's popular. Yeah. Scale this back. Okay. Right. Take this out. Do more of this. Yeah. Right. Or if you say, our paper has an oddity. It has, a unique thing. We do this once a week, whatever. That's fine.
That's not what they're doing here, though.
But if you're saying that they're changing, so say for example,
they didn't say like special edition, special coverage.
Not special, but it's just like a thing.
They're not.
If doing that's that, one section, right? That I don't see that as the death.
The magazine has been struggling for years. Okay, so because where do people go for financial information nowadays?
That's a good question.
Yeah, not to there. They go to the fucking internet.
I was gonna say,
So they go to Reddit,
yeah.
or whatever. So, and stuff
Wall
like
Street
that.
bets.
Wall Street bets. Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Well,
So,
okay.
yeah, no. So I just seen it as like one of these things. It's like, oh, okay. So you don't see like their competitors doing this. Like Barron's doesn't do this. Fucking, um,
the Journal.
the Wall Street Journal definitely does not do that. So, although that's a daily, and Forbes is, well, I guess it's the website now, so it doesn't fucking matter anymore. So, but it's just like, like it. If you can maintain a sense of authority in a certain area, you don't go wandering into other places unless you're losing that in your main like area. So
I get that, but yeah, as long as it's every single program or something like that, like there's nothing on that was basically there's no show that started in 1950 that is on right now, right?
I think the 700 Club is still going.
They started in 1950.
Something like that. It's that long. Yeah. That's like one of the original TV shows, man. So if I'm not mistaken. So
I don't know. But
well, that's what happens when it's basically church on TV.
Well, okay,
So,
yeah, that's fine. To me, it actually sounds like at the time that it came on, that probably sounds like something that was mandated by law at some point where it's like, well, actually, X amount of your programming must be church related, or whatever. But I digress here. So because audiences change over time, like it would be okay to include something like that as long as it didn't take over what you were doing. Now, I'm going to give you a counterexample, okay? Because you and I are both old enough to remember when the Huffington Post was an actual publication.
That was a long time ago.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
And Ariana Huffington
yeah.
was never. I don't think she was ever as serious about it as people say she was.
I get that. Yeah. I get that. But they did actually, and for a while it was worth reading. They actually did put out articles and things like that. They were the leader of basically rage clickbaits.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And they converted the entire operation into that.
Yeah.
Right? Into basically...
They were like the first one to do that, too.
Absolutely.
I mean, like Alex Jones' stuff was doing that.
But that was
different.
Yeah, but yeah, this was basically the outrage machine.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So when you change the whole thing, okay, that I understand.
But that didn't happen overnight.
It was pretty quick.
Well,
they went from...
He sold it. So, yeah, and then it went a little bit bananas. So after that, because, well, in order to sell it, she's going to walk out with a lion's share of the worth of the company.
Right.
So
right.
She started that in her fucking basement, basically.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, and her husband, I can't remember who he was, but he was rich as fuck. So I don't remember, though.
No, you're right. You're right. But you see what I'm saying? So, like, if Forbes, just like anything, is if you adapt and include a feature or something like that, I don't see that necessarily as having turned it over.
Sorry, man. It used to be the Classy magazine. So they let the games journalists in because they're going after the young crowd, and now it's got bikini photos in it. I think the trend line here is pretty clear.
You gotta do what you gotta do to survive, man.
I guess, man, and I don't think Steve Forbes... Is he even still alive? He might be.
I can't tell you.
Yeah. You know that guy owned, like, a fucking ranch here in this state that was, like, the size of Rhode Island?
That doesn't surprise me one bit.
Yeah, he did. It was down in the south somewhere. But, yeah, but it was just one of those things where I saw that I was like, okay, you guys are struggling too. Got it. So...
Yeah. No, I understand. And again, like even if you were to do that in some like if you did something like that, if 99% of Nat Geo was still the same, but you put that in there, right? Just for like, well, let me see if this lands.
Yeah,
right?
I don't think they would.
They probably wouldn't, but if they did, I wouldn't say this is no longer Nat Geo or they've lost it because they did this.
No.
But if you said it's like, okay, well, there was one of these back here.
Yeah.
Like, if you see that it's a hit, right, then it's like, okay, that's fine. then we have that as part of our repertoire, but we keep the basis the same.
Yeah.
And other places are like, no, we lean into that completely.
Well, that's what I'm. We'll have to wait for more data points. So here to see, but I'm on patrol now. I'm
No,
on
it's
watch.
funny that you say that because
when they started
yeah.
doing games journalism, I was like, what the fuck are you guys doing writing about fucking games? So
all right, they had a point there, right? And I agree with this where I remember when they started doing this, I remember the argument was, look, the games industry has eclipsed the movie industry.
then you write about the industry. You don't write about the game.
I understand. But as a piece of that where you say, like, we cannot ignore this as part of business, I'm like, that makes sense. I will say that the approach that they took...
That was
right,
dumb. They hired people who wanted to write about games, not the industry. So
Well,
or they wanted to bash the industry for its like
right.
fucking legitimately shitty toxic.
They brought in
environment.
Shiver, which is basically like the one thing he talks about is unfair working conditions within the games industry. Is like, yeah, it's your one trick pony.
Yeah, well, I mean, it just happens to be the one that's actually true. So
It is true, but it's also meaningless. It's like,
well, it's not keeping people out of the industry. So no, I mean, you go to any school out there and you ask 10 kids, what do you want to do when you grow up? I guarantee you're going to find one or two of them who want to write video games. So it's terribly common. Oh, the AI is going to destroy that sooner than I thought.
that actually is fine. That's actually something that's going to solve a lot of their labor problems.
Yeah, by making labor obsolete.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, actually, let me put it this way. Fewer people will be working harder than ever.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Well, actually, like, here's the other, clip on this. This is the other true part is, again, this is the same thing where they pulled the data and they said, why are people playing games that are 6 to 10 years, old? Like, if you look at the users right now, everybody's playing old stuff, right?
Yeah.
That's the truth of it, is, it's lost its current market. The age of basically, so this is something that Hollywood can't do, right? This is something that Hollywood can't do. There's been a real panic in Hollywood right now, right?
Oh yeah, deservedly so too.
Deservedly so,
Yeah.
and this summer has really scared a lot of people, right?
I was reading the other day that this is like the worst. This is like a box office apocalypse is going on right now. So is that true?
It is true,
Yeah.
and the other thing is that it is the biggest problem they're having with it is, whereas a lot of models used to be dead on, they're like, we can predict like to $10 what this is going to
They
make.
can't do that anymore.
Like the audience tastes or their willingness to go out to see these things is completely falling apart, and there's a lot of blame to be thrown around where it's like, it's your fault, it's the audience's fault, which you never do. You never you never look at the audience and say, like, this is your fault. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
you know what? I never have to see anything with your name on it again, and people will stick to that. But so the place is falling apart, and the thing that they don't have with games is games doesn't have that 2-point barrier of entry, right?
Oh right, yeah.
Where it's a theater then streaming.
No,
right?
they don't. Yeah, it's a no barrier to entry now.
Correct.
Well, the barrier used to be like you had to know how to actually do the shit, and very few people knew how to do that in the beginning. So
Yeah.
and then a lot of people knew how to do it, but then there was always more studios than there were people who were competent, and so then now it's kind of going in the opposite direction. So we're like, it's going to get back to game design fundamentals rather than your ability to program or 3D model and stuff like that.
Well-
or animate. So
Well, so that's part of it. Is the two components of this here is what Hollywood is missing right now is, and this is the thing that they've been missing for years, is basically the mid-sized blockbuster, right?
Yeah, that's been gone for a while.
Yeah, and that's something that they can't reclaim because, like, the only reason you get out to the theaters, whether it be two, right? One would be that you are part of, like, the small, like, indie horror crowd, right?
Oh, yeah,
indie or horror
yeah.
crowd, because that's what you're way into, right? And so
you're gonna go to Kimball's Peak, yeah.
well, or even like if something would open down here and it's like a small thing, if you're into it and it's a small movie,
Yeah.
it makes its money because it's shot for $20 million.
Right. Yeah, your Blair Witch projects and stuff like
Well,
that.
yeah. Or any, and it doesn't have to be horror, but anything within that indie field.
Yeah, but that seemed to be the one where you could guarantee an audience just about every time. So, you know.
Well, the entire horror genre is like that, right?
Right.
So you can use that right there. The other thing is spectacle. Is something is so big that you have to right. That's why the whole mid-range thing like disappeared.
Well, that and the jumbo sizing of theaters too. So that actually did have something to do with it, man.
Well, it did, but
So-
I mean, not necessarily in a bad way.
No, not in a bad way, but it did hollow out that middle because, like, if I need to put a lot of butts in seats over there to make that place profitable. So I need the biggest fucking movies you can get, and so I need like 3 or 4 of them in a summer block rather than 2. So so the studios knew that too, and so they tried.
And we're gonna make all of our money in 3 weeks.
Exactly. Yeah.
Whereas like fucking Batman '89 was held over for like a year.
Yep.
And it didn't like come to print on video until like the year after. So
they'd take forever sometimes.
oh yeah, the transfer would take forever. But with that, games don't have that same limitation of the mid-range blockbuster. So they're like, when they hit that critical mass of like huge studios, $330 million budgets and stuff like this, right? The question is like, how much better of an experience are you getting for that versus what 4 guys can do?
Right.
Or, this is the same thing that they go through. It's like when they looked at the stats at like Red Dead, right?
Oh yeah.
And they say, this sold this many copies. How many hours did the average person play?
Oh yeah.
And it was like 10.
Yeah, very few.
Yeah, so at that point they're like, so do we need to make 100+ hour games? Is that, or is there a need for that and a need for this? Like, that sort of thing. So the since the tools have become so much easier to use, small companies are doing huge business.
Yeah. Well, that guy who made Manor Awards was minted a millionaire in basically a weekend.
Oh, the Valheim guys.
Same with the Valheim guys. Yeah, and they haven't really touched the game since. So, I mean, they did
It would be hard for me to come back to. It would be like, if I released it and I made that much money
I'd probably be done with it too.
I actually what I would have passed it on to somebody.
I'd just open source it at that point in time. Say, here, I'm gonna release all the modding tools. You guys have at it. So
I would have. I mean,
go sit on the fucking beach now. Thank you.
Yeah,
So,
I would have picked somebody else, put them in charge. That's me.
Yeah, but see, that's the problem that's coming. So, so this is one thing that I did learn from that conference is that there's one group of people who are absolutely fucking panicking about AI in education.
I was gonna say it was educators, right?
No, there's another one. Then they're probably right about being fucked.
Who?
Textbook printers. So.
Oh yeah.
And so there you go, And so back in the day where I could tell that 4 or 5 of my colleagues were using the exact same fucking textbook, in the future, we'll all be using different ones. So no 2 people will be using the same. Well, I mean, there will be some people who are using the same thing. But, if you have even just a little inclination of creativity behind you and the tools to be able to do it, you're going to just generate your own. So, and what's going to happen, all right, with games, and you're starting to see it already, is that you're going to have so many it's going to be worse than a fucking grocery store in terms of finding a good game. So because it's either going to be GTA 6 and everybody fucking knows about it, okay, or it's going to be, hey, let me tell you about this thing that I found. Yeah. So but what that means is it's not going to be near as profitable as it used to be. So
well, no, that's not true.
Okay.
Because profit is based off of what you spend.
Well, I know. Okay, yeah, you're right. Okay, so it's not going to generate as much revenue as it used to. Let me put it that way.
I will argue that the same amount of dollars, if not, I will argue that the same amount of dollars will be spent, if not more, right? but they're not going to be.
Well, it will be less, so because the next generation is decidedly smaller. So, and the one behind that is going to be even smaller than that. So, over the long run, it will be less. So, there
we're
will be
talking
more
like
games out there.
50 years out? Oh,
Maybe
okay.
no, maybe like 30. So, yeah, I mean, past the point in time where I'll be so blind I can't fucking see the TV.
All right.
No,
So, okay. So, well, all right. There is one other thing that we forget to account for is that within our lifetimes, right, the acceptable age for video gaming has gone from a margin of like 7 years old to 20 years old
now it's everybody.
to 0 to 100. So that does account for it. So yes, of course, it has to shrink some.
It has to shrink some, and then eventually the price point's got to break somewhere. So the $60 to $70 price point is just it's not sustainable. In the
Well,
long
it's
run.
already breaking.
It is slowly. So, but like new releases are still they're a little bit more expensive. So
A little bit more, dude.
depends on the game. All right. So I bought Hogwarts Legacy. It was $60 still. So and then what's the most recent? So Manor Wars was 30, but it was incomplete. Skylines was 70.
There was not $70 worth of game there.
No, apparently they. So I don't know what the fuck Colossal Order is doing right now. They might have taken all their money and gone home too because they decided that they're gonna like fix the economy and then immediately go on vacation. I saw that on their site.
Yeah, here's the thing: is I
was like, that's probably pretty fucking smart, man. Because I don't think you're gonna ever make anybody happy with this thing now. So.
I don't recall getting the handwritten apology letter I requested. That never happened.
They did apologize, but they did so in a very Finnish Eurotrash way.
Yeah, they did. No, it's like the apologies you'd have to write in like 5th grade. It's like I'm sorry,
I'm sorry,
you're so ugly.
I'm sorry, Jenny's hair got in my bubble gum.
Right.
So
Yeah,
we couldn't get it out with peanut butter, so Jenny had to shave her head. So it wasn't my fault that it was school picture day.
exactly. Yeah, so there's that, but no, I argue that like the revenues will probably increase.
I don't know, man.
And again, it's going to be like in order to increase that, you're going to have to reduce staff, right?
You're going to have to reduce staff, but I think the price points are going to break down in the future. So in some respects, when you can find a $10 indie game that entertains you for like fucking hours and hours and hours
Yes.
because it has AI generated content.
Yes.
Okay, that is different. You and I could be playing the same fucking Valheim, and they have 2 goddamn different types of monsters in them. So, and we're like, whoa, I've never seen that. It was like, wow, that's cool. But get, hundreds and hundreds of hours of gameplay out of something, or 10 hours of gameplay out of it, whatever. Okay,
Right.
because it's going to scale to what you want it to be. So, and then if I can get that for $10 and get, half a year of gameplay out of it, I can't see how the industry is going to make more money than it does now. So,
Well, because the thing is, more people will be buying a more. Look, remember, like, we had our equipment and we bought one game a year.
oh yeah.
This is what I'm saying is I don't. It's not like we had basically the Call of Duty machine.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying is, if you look at that and say like, okay, so this company got $60 from us once a year, right? So if in hindsight I bought 10 games at $10 a piece, I still spent more money, right?
But they make their money by mass. So they would turn around and sell, tens of millions of copies of that game.
Well, those guys,
That's how they would make money.
right? Those
Yeah.
guys would,
Right.
right? But if you're talking about places with essentially like less overhead, so they're spending less money, AI is doing more of the work. Like the more money is actually going to reach the artistic group that put that out.
It's possible. Yeah, it's possible.
Because
I don't think
ultimately-
it's inevitable, though, man. So there's a couple of things that I'm a little bit worried about. So
Well, so number one, it's not. There's people that are saying it right now. They're defining this as a quote unquote crash. It's absolutely not a crash. It's not. When people talk about basically pre 1984 and they talk about that, I'm like, this has nothing to do with that. These two things aren't related. And it's not something that's going to put a dent in the market like that. What it's going to do is it's going to change the structure of big business in this, because they are at an untenable point where they're like,
They are.
look,
Yeah.
when we joke about like $70 games, that's not it. Because a lot of games are basically, when you go to the options, it's 60 for the base package, 70 for the complete package, 120 for all the DLC season 1, 150 for
Yeah.
right. This is what I'm talking about. Is it's not $70. It's not TIE Fighter and then buying the expansion, right? It's you are expected to buy season passes for these things. That model is untenable.
I don't think people are going for that, man. So there's been well, I mean, in some genres, sure, but like the old school World of Warcraft model,
It's done.
it's done. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
There's a big blowback against a phrase that they were using for a minute called games as a service.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, everybody saw through that. It was like, wait a minute, this is a scam. You know? It's like, what do you mean? I need to give you my credit card so you can send me money? So it's like, no. Yeah. So I had someone in Boston tell me that. It was fucking hilarious.
What?
Well, I was just commenting to, and this guy was a local out there. He was in Lexington. So, and you know, I got to know him a little bit over lunch and things like that a couple times. I was like, man, I was telling him what I was telling you earlier. I was like, man, everybody was really nice.
Oh.
And
Okay.
he's like, well, don't say that too loud, you know? And I was like, yeah, I did not expect that. And he's like, well, we kind of like it that way. So, because when you're too nice to somebody up front, they think it's a scam.
Yeah.
And so if you approach me and ask me, it's
Yeah.
like, hey, sir, how's your day going? I'm instantaneously thinking, what do you want? So, whereas if you just ask me up front, it's like, how do I get to the bus station? It'd be like, oh, it's right over there. You know?
when
Then I know it's not a scam. You just need some help, and I'm more than happy to help you. So, but yeah, games as a service. Everybody was like, "That's a scam."
No, you're right. It's a scam. It's in the same way, like you know, the people at the store, they don't really want to help you find anything.
No.
When they ask you that, like, can I help you find anything? Because yeah, so they're really nice. It's oh, you can check my hands. I didn't steal anything.
I didn't steal anything.
It's like, I know why you're here.
Right, yeah, no, I don't need the credit card. No, I don't need the service plan either, and I've already used my $400 that I get for MSN.
Yeah, unless you do happen to be at like fucking Nordstrom Rack or something where those people are 100% like commission driven, then I get it. But yeah, so yeah, everybody knew that games as a service was a scam. It was something where yes, we are going to There's two terms for this they use: that and free to play. Because free to play
is not free. Yeah.
I mean, there is a version of it that you can play that is free. That is true.
Slaughtered with advertising. It'll be rotten with ads. Yeah.
Rotten with ads, or there's the other piece of this that people don't ever want to hear is like, what'd you think of this game? If somebody says, don't play it, it's pay to win.
Right, yeah.
If anybody ever says pay to win, right?
You're sunk.
It's done.
You're sunk, kid. Yeah.
It's done.
Yeah.
Right?
It could have been great, but it's over. You know?
Except there is a group of people out there who love pay to win.
Oh, yeah, sure. Rich people. So...
Not necessarily rich, but people willing to spend their money on that. People who are willing to, who are shit, dude. There's plenty of them like that. So the fact that they have that many different models that they're trying, like compared to it, like what if I go back to the old models where it's like this game, the first 8 levels are free. You can play them as much as you want.
No. So I those were the demo discs that used to come in the magazine. Yes, I know. It's free to play until it was like, well, this first level was awesome. So
the whole they will never take these ones away from you. Do you want more? It's like, yes. Well, then send a cashier's check or a money order or whatever it was to this place, and you get the full version, right?
Yep. I did that once, man. I actually sent a money order to fucking Australia to get it. I did, and it took months, but I did get it. So, along with a handwritten thank you note. So,
Dude, for real, like, so those models that we were used to, like, those are long gone, and the fact that they're experimenting with a lot more, to me, is positive, because yeah, there's going to be more things that open up here, especially with more tools. Again, the same people that are afraid that AI is going to replace what they're doing, well, don't be afraid of it.
no,
okay?
learn how to use it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, learn how to use it. No, but I just see the same thing kind of happening with it that happened to music. So, where music is just like, there's so many artists and the platforms are so accessible now. And, so you get two things. You get very samey music that appeals to a humongous chunk of a particular market. And so there's one or two or five really, really, really big pop stars in those. Or country's a good example of this too. So, and then there's millions of other artists that you really have to be into that to actually know who they are.
It's kind of awesome.
Well, if you like it that way, that's fine. But it means that, like, you and your group of 5 friends, you're not going to play the same fucking games. You're not even going to know about the same games, usually. So,
Well, see, that's the thing, is it's on you. All right. When you have that, right, when you have something like that, the other thing that you're sort of stuck on is it's on the players and the fans to do the legwork.
It is,
It's,
yeah.
It's as the guy that sold the
YouTube guys do a good job of that too,
Right,
So that's
right.
what you're going to find.
yeah,
So,
as Wayne, the guy from the Miracle Blade 2 said, he said, like, there's 3 types of advertising. There's telephone, there's television, and there's telefriend.
Yep.
And that last version of that, where, hey, if there's a lot of stuff out there, let me show you this and let me see if you like it. Or, just pop this up on YouTube is about to do something else big, too.
Oh, what are they going to fuck up now?
They have had it with ad blockers.
Oh, yeah, I saw this. Yeah.
You saw this?
Yeah, I thought they already implemented that.
I thought they were in the process of doing it now.
I think they've already got it out there.
Okay.
I don't use an ad blocker.
No.
So I pay for the $5 whatever,
Yes.
or it's
Yeah.
like $7 now. Okay. But even that's not working anymore, because a lot of the guys that I watch, they do their Winston cigarettes.
Hey, you know what? That I'm fine with.
It's starting to grate on me, bro.
Hey, listen. You get your own, man. Like I at least in that regard, because all right, the problem I have with YouTube as like an ad model right now, okay, is the restrictive part where you don't say words like suicide in the episode, right? Even if that's what the video's about, right? Because
well, that's just people who don't want to get monetized.
well, that's what I'm saying.
Demonetized.
That's what I'm saying. So if you have your own sponsorship, right?
Yeah, you can do that.
You're free from that, and that I respect.
Well, I respect guys who don't just like. There's guys like even the China guys do this all the time. They're like, we're not going to make any money off this, but it's an important story, so let's get it out there.
Absolutely.
And then they make money off people who go to their Patreon or people who subscribe and sponsor their channel that way.
Absolutely.
So, and then they give you one ad in the beginning, and then you're golden. Okay? So, there's other guys out there where it's like, oh, it's time for a mandatory 3-minute ad break. It's like, you know what, bro? I know, like, you're trying to do this for a living. You've got, I don't know, 40,000 subscribers now. You're good. You don't need me anymore. Off my list.
No, I got you.
So,
I got you. If having your sponsor, right, frees you up to actually not try to play the YouTube algorithm game, right?
every YouTuber plays the game.
But do you understand what I'm saying?
do
Where
understand
it's
what
like
you're
where you
saying,
restrict
yeah.
what you're saying,
Yeah.
right? I'm 100% on board with that. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I would much rather turn around and say, like, how's your direct support? So if you come around and say, like, all right, well, you know how I make my money? Last 10 minutes, I'm going to read super chats, right?
But there's lots of people who do that. Yeah,
Got
that's
it.
fine.
That's fine too, because then they're directly sponsoring your shit, right?
So
I'm not going to sit there.
Dude, I could do that on my channel if I live streamed. So I'd be like, hey, stick around, ask me anything for the next 10 minutes, just drop a couple bucks in the can, kind of thing. I
Absolutely.
could make money doing that. I don't need it. So, and there's a lot of YouTubers out there that I see that it's like, yeah, wow, this is blatantly, commercialized. And
Well,
I don't think you really mean the things that you say. So, I don't know, man. I've just gotten sensitive to that. And when I see people who pump 3, 4, 5 ads into a, 40-minute show, it's kind of like,
you get no qualm for me there.
okay,
Right. That's I understand
Yeah.
that. Right. We came to that agreement like years and years and years ago with like regular TV about how many ads are acceptable in a show.
you're right.
We
We
know.
did do that. Yeah. Yeah. So, but see, the funny thing is, there's a lot of YouTubers out there now, especially the younger ones. They didn't grow up watching TV, so they don't know the rules.
No. And they are fucking panhandlers.
They're panhandle. That's exactly what they are. Spare change. Spare change.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they're like that guy who like spritzes your windshield. So
The squeegee man?
the squeegee guys.
The-
They're YouTube squeegee guys. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
So and I'm getting a little tired of that, man. So, but yeah, that's okay. I think that's enough old man ranting for the moment. So I really liked
Yeah.
Boston. Shout out to Boston. It is the best city. So
That's cool.
it is cool.
Yeah.
I can't wait to go back. So
Yeah, I wish I could have gone. I just couldn't.
it's okay. No worries. So I need to take a trip to the big city though. So I flew over it on the way back. I was like, fuck, I haven't been there in 20 years. So 15 years. So
Just go.
yeah, I might.
Yeah, you guys are different. You guys Will and you are all like my family's gonna want to go. And
My family has to go.
Yeah, see, that's
So yeah, no. They have to go. My days of taking singleton trips are limited to business
I'm
only.
gonna say you just took one.
Right, I've taken them in the past, but they are always restricted to business.
I get it. I get
Yeah.
it.
So if I were to say like, hey, let's we're gonna have a guys' week in Hawaii for my wife would be like, you come back to a fucking empty house.
No, the way that it's presented is like, hey, hey, I want to do this. I'd love to bring you guys along. Okay, we'd have to do it here. If you don't want to go at that time, that's cool. I'll go and I'll come back. Right?
They're not-
But you extend the offer, and it's up to them to say like, hey, yes, I want to get in on that, or no, I'm not interested.
Yeah, but they have veto power too. They can be like, no, you're gonna stay here.
So that does not compute with me.
Yeah, I know, man. You don't have one of these things. Yeah, I get it.
No.
You don't understand. Yeah, this is part of the contract. So when you sign for the car, So
All right.
all right.
All right.
I'm Pat.
And I'm Jeffrey.
I'm hitting the button.
Okay.